9 hidden signs she's deeply invested but pulling away out of fear. Psychology insights. Most men misunderstand this, so let's clear it up from the beginning. When a woman creates space, it doesn't automatically mean she's losing interest. Sometimes it means the exact opposite. She may be feeling too much, and that intensity can scare her more than distance ever could. A lot of men hold a simple but risky belief. If she likes you, she stays close. If she creates distance, she's done. That assumption has ruined more genuine connections than bad timing ever has. Because what many women actually fear isn't you. It's what starts happening inside them when their feelings get deep. As Paulo Coelho once suggested, love doesn't always need a reason to exist. Still, the human heart keeps searching for logic, keeps trying to protect itself, especially when the feelings start becoming real. That's why you may notice a confusing shift. One moment she's warm, open, fully present, then suddenly she replies slower, shows less emotion, and seems more guarded. You start replaying everything in your head. You wonder if you said the wrong thing, if someone else showed up, or if you're about to be replaced. And most men react in two predictable ways. They either chase harder or they shut down and become cold, both of which usually push her even further away. Here's what many women won't openly admit. Real emotional investment can feel like standing in the open with no protection. When she realizes she's attached, her guard doesn't always fall. Often it goes up, not because you failed, but because now you matter. Now the emotional stakes feel higher. Her mind starts running worst case scenarios: loss, disappointment, abandonment, regret. Pulling back becomes a form of self protection, not rejection, a way to regain control over feelings that suddenly feel bigger than she expected. The mistake many men make is interpreting fear as disinterest, and they react with panic instead of calm leadership. That's the key point here. Learning to notice the hidden signs that she's genuinely invested, even while she's pulling back because she's scared of caring too much. No games, no manipulation, just a heart trying to stay safe. If you want clarity instead of confusion, don't look for tricks. Stay composed. Observe. Let her feel secure without you begging, accusing, or disappearing. That's how you protect something real. 1. She becomes quiet right after emotional closeness. One of the most misunderstood signs of deep investment is this. She goes quiet right after an emotionally close moment. You share something meaningful, she opens up, tells you something personal about her past, her fears, or how safe she feels with you. The connection feels genuine. Then suddenly she becomes quiet. Her replies get shorter, her tone softer, and the warmth seems to fade. Most men panic at this stage. They assume she regrets opening up. They assume she lost interest. Don't rush to that conclusion. Be wiser than that. When a woman shares something vulnerable, she crosses an invisible emotional boundary. That's not small. That's significant. The moment she lets you see behind her emotional curtain, attachment speeds up. Feelings start moving faster than logic. And when she notices that shift inside herself, fear can appear just as fast. Not fear of you, fear of how much she now cares. Fear of being seen too clearly. Fear of losing emotional control. Fear of being hurt later if things fall apart. So she pulls back. Not dramatically, not angrily, but subtly. Quieter, more measured, less expressive. From your side, it feels confusing. From her side, it feels like tapping the brakes before she falls too fast. A woman who is indifferent doesn't need recovery time after closeness. She stays light, detached, casual. But a woman who is feeling something real suddenly becomes aware of risk. Emotional investment raises the stakes. That quiet phase isn't rejection, it's regulation. She's trying to slow her own emotions, trying to protect her heart without losing the connection. Now pay close attention because this is where many men ruin the momentum. They start demanding reassurance. What happened? Why are you acting different? Did I do something wrong? Don't interrogate her like that. Pressure only confirms her fear that emotions with you might become overwhelming. On the other side, some men react with cold distance. They mirror her silence with pride and pull away completely. Don't do that either. Sudden coldness signals emotional instability. It tells her that the connection with you is fragile and unsafe. Both reactions, pressure and withdrawal, push her deeper into defense mode. What actually works is steadiness, calm presence, and consistent behavior. You have to become the stable ground she can stand on while she sorts through her own emotions. Respond normally. Stay warm but not intense. Give her space without disappearing. That is strength. That is emotional leadership. Short, clear, grounded. When she senses that her vulnerable moment didn't scare you, didn't change how you act, and didn't trigger drama, something powerful happens. Safety grows. She realizes she can open up without losing control of the situation. She learns that closeness with you doesn't equal chaos. And here's the truth most men never understand. Silence after intimacy is often proof that the intimacy mattered. If it meant nothing, there would be no retreat, no recalibration, no internal pause. The quiet is not emptiness, it's processing. It's her heart catching up to her courage. Be patient. Don't overreact. Don't dramatize. Don't chase reassurance. Hold your frame and stay centered. When you respond with calm confidence instead of insecurity, you turn what could have become distance into deeper trust. That's how mature connection is built. Not through emotional pressure, not through panic, but through steadiness, restraint, and quiet strength. 2. She overthinks everything you say. When a woman starts overanalyzing your words, understand this clearly. It's not chaos, it's not drama, and it's not instability. It's investment. Before her feelings deepened, your messages probably passed by like background music. Pleasant, light, and easily forgotten. But once you begin to matter, your words carry weight. They echo. They linger. They become lines she replays during her quiet moments. She won't tell you this directly. Most women won't. Instead, she asks herself silent questions in private. Did I talk too much? Did that joke annoy him? Did I sound silly? Does he feel this too? Am I moving closer while he's pulling away? That mental loop isn't about trying to control you. It's about protecting herself. It's about vulnerability the moment someone truly starts to matter. The heart becomes cautious, and caution can look confusing from the outside. Many men misread this stage. They label it as neediness or assume she's becoming overly sensitive. Don't make that mistake. Real neediness comes from emptiness, from someone seeking validation to fill a void. What you're seeing here is not emptiness. It's attachment forming. It's emotional risk, and that is very different. She's careful because she values the connection. She's measuring her steps because she doesn't want to fall alone. And this is where it gets tricky. You might notice inconsistency. One day she's warm, open, laughing easily. The next day, she seems a bit reserved, less expressive, pulling back slightly. Don't rush to conclusions. That shift is usually not manipulation, it's internal conflict. One part of her wants to lean in, another part wants to stay safe. She's asking herself, is this real? Is this stable? Is he steady? Fear doesn't erase interest, it complicates it. Especially for men between 35 and 70, this matters. At this stage in life, you value stability. You don't have time for emotional games. Good. Then don't treat this like a game. Treat it for what it is, a sign that she cares enough to be careful. Understand this clearly. A woman who doesn't care does not overthink. She doesn't replay your tone, analyze your pauses, or question if you meant what you said. She simply moves on. Indifference is quiet. Investment is loud inside the mind. Overthinking is exhausting. It drains her, even if she never says it out loud. So what actually helps? Clarity through consistency, not grand speeches, not dramatic declarations, not emotional pressure, just steady behavior and predictable communication. If you say you'll call, call. If you say you enjoyed your time, mean it. If you care, show it calmly and repeatedly. Consistency quiets her mind. Stability lowers her fear. Predictability creates safety. Don't tease her vulnerability. Don't mock her sensitivity. Be the man who makes emotional space feel secure. That is real strength. You don't need to over-explain yourself. You need to be steady. That is enough. When she overthinks your words, she's revealing something powerful without saying it. You matter. Handle that carefully. Be calm, be clear, be consistent. That's how you turn fear into trust. That's how you lead without force. That's how you build something real. 3. She pulls back when things start feeling real. When a connection moves from light and casual to emotionally meaningful, something powerful happens beneath the surface. Feelings become real. Stakes become real. And when the stakes rise, fear often rises with them. Not fear of you, but fear of loss, vulnerability, and what it truly means to care deeply. As Carl Jung once said, where love truly leads, the desire for control fades. Real love asks for surrender, and surrender can feel dangerous. So she instinctively creates a little distance, not as a tactic, not as manipulation, but as protection. This isn't a calculated move. It's self-preservation. You have to understand this clearly. When emotions grow deeper, uncertainty naturally appears. The heart begins asking difficult questions. What if this falls apart? What if I lose control? What if I end up caring more than he does? That inner tension can cause her to step back right when things start to feel meaningful. Many men misread that step. They assume she's losing interest. They assume rejection. Then they react with pressure, or they disappear to teach a lesson. Both responses destroy momentum. Both come from ego. Neither comes from strength. Pressure only makes it worse. Chasing tightens the emotional knot. Questioning her feelings too aggressively pushes her further into retreat. On the other hand, withdrawing completely sends a signal that confirms her fear. That closeness leads to instability. You must not swing emotionally. You must not react impulsively. Stability is power. Calm is leadership. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When she pulls back, your role is not to panic. Your role is to remain grounded. Understand this. Pulling back doesn't mean she is walking away from you. Often it means she is standing at the edge of something meaningful and feeling the weight of it. The closer she feels, the more real it becomes. The more real it becomes, the more vulnerable she feels. Vulnerability is uncomfortable, especially for someone who has been hurt before. So she tests distance. She slows communication. She needs space to process. That isn't disinterest, that's emotional calibration. Modern life intensifies this pattern. We live in a world of instant messages, instant reactions, instant assumptions. A delayed reply becomes a crisis. A quiet evening becomes doubt. But maturity, especially for men over 35, requires emotional steadiness. You're not 20 anymore. You don't chase signals with anxiety. You observe, you assess, you respond with composure. Real connection isn't built through urgency, it's built through patience. So, what should you do? Stay present without pushing. Let the connection breathe. Keep your energy steady. When you speak, speak calmly. When you act, act consistently. Show interest without demanding reassurance. That balance communicates strength. That balance communicates security. And security dissolves fear faster than pressure ever could. Remember what Ernest Hemingway said: the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. Trust doesn't mean blind optimism, it means giving space without lowering your standards. You don't beg. You don't over explain. You stay centered. You keep living your life with purpose. That quiet confidence creates safety. If she is deeply invested but afraid, your steadiness becomes the anchor. Your calm becomes the signal that closeness is not chaos. When she sees that your interest doesn't waver under tension, respect grows, attraction stabilizes, and emotional safety deepens. Pulling back isn't always retreat. Sometimes it's reflection. Sometimes it's her heart catching up to her feelings. Don't confuse movement with meaning. Watch patterns, not isolated moments. Measure consistency over time. Master this mindset and you master the situation. You stop reacting and you start leading. You create the breathing room where real intimacy can grow on its own. And when a woman finally feels safe enough to step forward again, it won't be forced. It will be her choice. That is the real win. That is emotional strength. That is how a man succeeds in love, by staying steady when emotions fluctuate and by remaining calm when things start to matter the most. 4. She becomes more observant of you than before. When a woman begins noticing small shifts in your tone, your routine, or your energy, that's not random curiosity. That's emotional investment sharpening her awareness. Before her feelings deepen, she simply enjoys your presence. After they deepen, she starts studying your consistency. She remembers little details you forgot mentioning. She notices if your enthusiasm changes. She senses when your mood shifts. And sometimes, instead of asking directly, she pulls back slightly so she can observe more clearly. Not to trap you, not to manipulate, but to assess safety. Understand this clearly. Indifference doesn't observe, it drifts. Investment pays attention. She might ask subtle questions about your plans. She may casually mention something you said weeks ago. She may even go quiet while watching how you respond under pressure. This is not interrogation. This is evaluation. When she cares, she wants to see if your actions match your words. Many men misread this phase as suspicion. They feel judged and become defensive. Don't do that. Defensiveness signals instability. Calm transparency signals strength. If your actions match your promises, you have nothing to worry about. If you say you value her, show it consistently. If you say you're serious, act seriously. Emotional safety grows when your patterns remain steady over time. Here is the deeper psychology. When attachment forms, the brain naturally shifts into prediction mode. She is unconsciously asking, is this man reliable long term? And reliability isn't proven through grand gestures. It's proven through repetition, calm presence, and stable character. Be aware of this. She isn't testing your perfection, she's measuring your consistency. Perfection is impossible. Consistency is powerful. Don't panic when you feel observed. Don't perform. Don't exaggerate effort. Just stay aligned. When she sees that your steady behavior doesn't change with emotional ups and downs, her internal anxiety decreases. She relaxes. She invests more openly. Investment makes her attentive, and attention is not a threat. It's a sign that you matter. Be the same man on your best day and on your uncertain day. That predictability builds trust, and trust builds permanence. 5. She tests distance instead of asking for reassurance. She won't always say, do you care about me? She won't always admit, I'm afraid of losing you. Instead, she creates a little space and quietly watches how you respond to it. That is the test. Not a game, not manipulation, protection. When a woman is deeply invested but scared, distance feels safer than direct vulnerability. Asking for reassurance requires emotional exposure. Pulling back requires no effort, so she creates space and then she observes. If she steps away, will you lean in calmly? If she goes quiet, will you remain steady? If she slows down, will you panic or will you stay grounded? Understand this clearly. She is not measuring your intensity. She is measuring your stability. There is a difference. Intensity is loud. Stability is quiet. Intensity burns fast. Stability endures. Many men fail at this point because they react instead of responding. They either mirror her distance out of pride. Oh, you're pulling away? Fine. Or they overcorrect and overwhelm her with messages, pressure, and emotional urgency. Don't do that. Matching her distance confirms her fear that the connection is fragile. Over pursuing confirms her fear that closeness will become overwhelming. You must choose a third path, calm presence. When she creates space, don't chase, but don't disappear either. Stay consistent. Send the message, make the call, keep your tone warm but controlled. That is strength. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Her distance is an outside event. Your response is within your control. If you let her pullback shake your center, you fail the test. If you remain steady, predictable, and emotionally balanced, you pass without even announcing it. Here's what's really happening psychologically. She is asking one silent question. Is he safe? Not safe physically, but emotionally safe. Safe in consistency. Safe in patience. Safe in not exploding when things feel uncertain. Many men think passion proves love. It doesn't. Consistency proves safety, and safety builds trust. That is what she is scanning for. That is what she is testing. Do not confuse her retreat with lack of interest. If she were uninterested, she would detach cleanly. No tests, no subtle checking, no watching your reactions. Indifference is simple. Fear is complicated. Fear pulls back while still caring deeply. So when she tests distance, she isn't asking for fireworks. She's asking for emotional reliability. Can you handle space without spiraling? Can you handle silence without accusations? Can you handle uncertainty without drama? Be the man who can. Modern dating amplifies this pattern. Delayed texts, social media ambiguity, busy schedules, mixed signals. In this environment, insecurity multiplies quickly. So when she pulls away slightly, don't assume rejection. Don't send long paragraphs demanding clarity. Don't punish her with coldness. That's emotional reactivity. Instead, demonstrate calm leadership over your own emotions. Keep your rhythm. Keep your direction. Keep your standards. Consistency is attractive because it signals inner control. It communicates, I am not shaken by temporary shifts. That steadiness relaxes her nervous system far more than grand romantic gestures ever could. Over-pursuing overwhelms her because it feels like pressure. Matching her distance feels like abandonment. Calm consistency feels like safety. And that is the sweet spot. Remember this. She is not testing whether you can chase her. She is testing whether you can stay grounded. Big difference. Chasing is impulse. Grounded presence is discipline. And discipline in love is rare. So when she steps back, don't panic, don't overreact, and don't withdraw just to protect your ego. Stay balanced, stay warm, stay predictable. That is how you demonstrate emotional maturity. That is how you show her that connection with you is not chaotic, but stable. When she realizes that her small retreat didn't shake you, didn't scare you, and didn't push you into extremes, something shifts inside her. Fear softens, trust grows. She steps closer on her own, and not because you chased, not because you pressured, but because you proved through calm consistency that you are safe to invest in. 6. She suddenly tries to act low maintenance. When a woman who once expressed her needs openly begins to downplay them, you need to pay attention. This is not indifference. This is investment mixed with fear. A woman doesn't shrink her needs because they disappeared. She shrinks them because they matter, because they feel big, because they feel risky. And risk feels dangerous when the heart is involved. As Maya Angelou once expressed, loving again requires courage. Many people want that courage, but few feel safe enough to show it. So when she suddenly says it's fine more often than before, when she stops asking for reassurance, when she laughs off something that clearly affected her, don't assume she has become easier. Assume she has become careful. From the outside, it looks like independence and calm self-containment. From the inside, it is fear management. She is calculating emotional exposure. She's asking herself, if I show how much I care, will he pull away? So she pulls back first, not to leave, but to protect herself. In today's world where everyone is told not to seem needy and dating advice often praises emotional detachment as power, many women would rather appear low maintenance than risk being misunderstood. Social media glorifies nonchalance. Modern culture rewards coolness. But real connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels dangerous when you truly care. That is the paradox. Understand this clearly. A woman who feels nothing doesn't adjust her behavior. She drifts, she disconnects, she invests elsewhere. But a woman who cares and becomes quieter is often watching you more closely than ever. She hopes you'll notice the shift. She hopes you'll lean in gently. She hopes you'll ask the question she's afraid to ask herself. As Brené Brown teaches, vulnerability is not weakness. It is one of the clearest signs of courage. Remember, she may not be pulling back because she's unsure about you. She might be pulling back because she's too sure and that certainty scares her. This is where most men make the mistake. They interpret her silence as stability. They think, great, no drama, and they relax. They stop checking in. They assume everything is fine just because she says it is. Don't make that mistake. Emotional awareness matters more than intensity. Strength in relationships isn't about acting unbothered, it's about being perceptive. If she stops initiating deeper conversations, you initiate them. If she downplays something that once mattered to her, gently bring it back into the light. Not through interrogation, but through leadership. Calm, steady presence. Be the man who isn't threatened by emotion. Be the man who doesn't panic when feelings deepen. Be the man who can see through the mask without shaming her for wearing it. That is power. Quiet power. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the obstacle to action can become the path forward. Her hesitation isn't a wall, it's an invitation. It's your opportunity to demonstrate steadiness. When she silently asks whether it's safe to care more, you answer with consistency. Not grand gestures. Consistency, not pressure, presence. Understand this principle. When a woman tries to act like she needs less, it often means she's afraid of how much she actually needs. And when she's afraid of needing you, it usually means she values you. That is not a signal to withdraw. It's a signal to rise, to respond with clarity, to reassure without being asked, to create an environment where honesty feels safer than pretending. In modern relationships, especially for men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, emotional intelligence has become the new form of strength. You don't win by being distant, you win by being grounded. You don't win by ignoring subtle shifts, you win by noticing them. So pay attention. Notice patterns, notice tone, notice the difference between true independence and guarded attachment. Don't chase. Don't overreact, but don't ignore either. Ask better questions. Offer steady reassurance. Show through your actions that real connection doesn't scare you. When she senses that her deeper feelings won't push you away, the mask drops. The low maintenance act fades. What remains is authenticity, and authenticity builds loyalty. Master this moment, and you master the dynamic. Stay calm, stay aware, lead with emotional strength. That's how you build something real. 7. She pulls away because you matter more than you think. Let that sink in, not less, more. Sometimes when a woman creates distance, it's not doubt about you. It's doubt about herself in the presence of something that feels real. As Erich Fromm suggested, love is an act of will. Real connection requires courage, and courage always exposes vulnerability. When you begin to matter, you also gain the power to disappoint, to leave, to change. That power alone can make her step back and reassess her own heart. Most men misread this moment. They assume retreat equals rejection, so they chase for reassurance, or they turn cold to protect their pride. Both reactions are driven by ego, and both miss the emotional truth. The issue isn't your worth. The issue is the emotional weight of caring. When feelings deepen, risk increases. And not everyone is instantly comfortable with risk, especially in modern dating where options are endless, attention is cheap, and real commitment feels rare. Listen carefully. When a man becomes truly significant, he becomes emotionally influential. Not threatening, not harmful, but influential. She starts imagining possibilities, losing him, giving more than she planned, feeling the weight of her own emotions. That inner conflict can create space, not because she wants to step away from you, but because she's trying to regulate herself. That is not rejection. That is processing. Here's where many men unknowingly make things harder: inconsistency, mixed signals, strong interest one week, confusion the next, words without aligned action, attention without stability. You might think attraction alone is enough to keep momentum going. It's not. Attraction sparks, consistency sustains. As Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If your behavior is unpredictable, she will see instability as the pattern, and her caution will increase. Understand this clearly. Emotional safety isn't built on charm. It isn't built on chemistry. It's built on calm, steady behavior over time. That is strength. That is leadership. When she senses steadiness, her nervous system relaxes. When she senses uncertainty, she protects herself. Quietly, not dramatically. If she pulls away and you respond with silence, games, or calculated detachment, you confirm her fear. You teach her that caring leads to instability. She will detach with dignity, cleanly, no chaos. Just quiet closure. Do not panic. Do not chase. Do not withdraw. Be steady. That is the instruction. Stay emotionally grounded. Keep your communication clear. Continue living your life with purpose. Show interest without desperation. Show consistency without pressure. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Her temporary distance is outside your control. Your character is not. At the same time, don't become passive. Leadership matters. Clarity matters. If you sense confusion, address it calmly. Say what you feel. State your intentions. A woman cannot relax into connection if she feels she is carrying the emotional direction alone. She doesn't need perfection. She needs steadiness. This is the crossroads where men either evolve or repeat old patterns. The evolved man doesn't beg. He doesn't disappear. He remains composed. He moves forward. He understands that fear around connection often signals depth, not disinterest. Repeat this to yourself. If she is pulling away because I matter, my job is not to react emotionally. My job is to respond with stability. My job is to show that caring about me does not create chaos. That is power. Quiet power. In today's world of instant gratification and disposable attention, the rarest trait is emotional reliability. Become that. Be the man whose presence feels calm, not confusing. Be the man whose words match his actions. Be the man who doesn't crumble when emotions get complex. Sparks create excitement. Consistency creates trust. But emotional safety builds real commitment. And when you understand this difference, you don't just bring her closer again. You begin mastering yourself. And that inner win reshapes every relationship you'll ever have. 8. She covers her vulnerability with logic. When a woman starts explaining her emotional distance with calm, practical reasons, know this: something deeper is happening underneath. Logic becomes a shield when the heart feels exposed. She says she's busy. She needs space. The timing isn't right. On the surface, these sound reasonable and mature. And yes, they may be partly true. But they're rarely the full story. The deeper truth often sounds like this: I didn't expect to feel this much, and now that I do, I feel uneasy. For many women, admitting emotional depth feels like standing in the open without knowing if someone will catch them. That feels uncomfortable. That feels risky. So logic steps in. Logic builds structure. Logic slows everything down. Logic gives her solid ground when emotions feel unpredictable. Don't argue with her reasons. Don't rush to break down her logic point by point. Doing that only shows you're hearing her words while missing her emotional state. When a man debates her explanations, he thinks he's fixing something. He's not. He's increasing her need to protect herself. At the same time, don't disappear. Don't mistake her seriousness for rejection. A woman who feels nothing doesn't explain. She fades. She becomes silent. She walks away without analysis. Explanation takes effort. Explanation means she still cares about how things turn out. And that matters. When she talks about boundaries, pacing, and expectations, understand what's really happening. She's trying to regulate emotional speed, not because she wants less connection, because she feels more than she expected. When feelings move too fast, fear often follows. Fear of losing control, fear of misreading you, fear of investing deeply and ending up alone. Stay grounded. That is your role. Remain steady without becoming cold. Stay emotionally present without demanding access to parts of her she isn't ready to share. Emotional intelligence is strength. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have control over your mind, not external events. You cannot force her to open up, but you can control your response. That is where your power lives. Don't pressure her with dramatic reassurance. Don't demand answers she can't yet give. Sometimes she doesn't fully understand her own emotional shift. She only knows it feels bigger than expected. So logic becomes her translator when feelings feel too raw to name. During this phase, conversations may feel more controlled, less playful, more structured. That doesn't automatically mean attraction is fading. It often means internal conflict. She is balancing desire with caution. That's human. That's real. But remember, patience doesn't mean waiting forever. Understanding doesn't mean accepting endless confusion. Watch her consistency. Watch her effort. If she keeps communicating, keeps engaging, keeps explaining, she is still invested. If the effort disappears completely, accept that truth with dignity. A strong man doesn't chase clarity through pressure. He creates safety through stability. He listens without trying to fix. He observes without overreacting. He gives space without falling into insecurity. Behind her, calm explanations may be a woman who feels deeply, but is testing whether it's safe to show that depth. She isn't slamming the door, she's standing behind it, hand on the handle, deciding whether to open it more. Your role isn't to push the door. Your role is to remain the kind of presence that makes opening it feel safe. Be steady. Be patient. Be self-controlled. That is how you succeed in love. Not through force, not through arguments, but through quiet strength that doesn't break when emotions become complicated. 9. She slows down physical or emotional progress, not because attraction faded, but because it grew stronger. This is where many men get confused. The connection feels intense. The chemistry is real. Emotional closeness increases, and suddenly she wants to slow things down. She may suggest moving step by step. She may reduce physical closeness. She may set boundaries that weren't there before. Most men read this as loss of interest. That's wrong. Often it means the opposite. When attraction is casual, speed feels safe. There's little to lose, but when the connection feels meaningful, speed feels risky. Slowing down becomes a way to protect something valuable. She isn't rejecting the bond. She's protecting its future. As Seneca once wrote, courage brings freedom, but courage in love requires emotional security. If she feels something real forming, she may slow the pace to make sure the foundation is strong before going further. Don't take slowing down as a personal attack. Don't react with frustration. Don't pull back affection to punish her caution. That only confirms her fear that closeness leads to instability. Instead, understand what's happening underneath. She wants long-term stability, not just intense moments. She wants alignment, not attraction alone. There is a difference between pulling away emotionally and pacing a connection wisely. Watch her effort. If she keeps communicating, keeps making time, keeps showing care, the connection is still alive. She isn't retreating, she's regulating. Modern dating often celebrates fast chemistry, quick attachment, and instant passion. But lasting bonds are built differently. They require patience. They require emotional safety. They require two people who can handle tension without forcing quick answers. If she slows down, match her pace without losing your balance. Keep showing up. Keep leading calmly. Keep living with purpose. Attraction doesn't fade because of patience. It fades because of pressure. Remember this final truth. When a woman protects the pace of a relationship, she is often protecting her heart and the chance for something real. So don't rush what's developing. Don't confuse caution with doubt. Stability beats speed every time. Master patience, master self-control, master yourself. That's how you build something that lasts. Conclusion: 9 hidden signs. She's truly invested, but pulling back out of fear. Psychology insights. Here's the honest truth most women won't say directly. When a woman pulls away because of fear, it's rarely because she's unsure about you. It's usually because she's starting to imagine a future, and suddenly that future feels heavy with risk. She pictures shared holidays, deeper conversations, maybe even something permanent. And with that vision comes vulnerability. The higher the hope, the harder the possible fall feels. That's what many men misunderstand. They see distance and assume disinterest. They see hesitation and assume rejection. Don't make that mistake. A woman who feels nothing doesn't hesitate. She leaves clearly, no confusion, no mixed signals, no emotional struggle. Silence is easy when there is no emotional investment, but a woman who cares deeply and feels afraid moves back and forth. One day she's warm, present, leaning in. The next day she's quiet, guarded, slightly distant. It looks inconsistent. It feels frustrating, but it isn't random. It's her heart trying to protect itself while still wanting you close. She's managing two forces at once: desire and self-protection. Caring deeply makes a woman feel both strong and exposed. Strong because she feels connected. Exposed because now you matter. And when you matter, you can hurt her. That realization alone can cause a subtle retreat. Not because she doubts you, because she fears how much she now cares. What you do in these moments matters more than anything else. Not your charm, not your looks, not your clever words. Your emotional steadiness. That is the test. Stay grounded. Stay calm. Don't chase. Don't punish. Don't disappear to teach her a lesson. That reaction comes from fear, not strength. Most men lose women not because they weren't enough, but because they reacted from fear instead of understanding. They felt the shift and panicked. They demanded answers. They pushed for certainty. They tried to force clarity when what she needed was safety. Understand this clearly. Emotional hesitation is not rejection. It is often attachment mixed with anxiety. When you pressure her during that phase, you confirm her fear. When you stay steady, you comfort her. That is the difference. You must become the emotional anchor, not another wave in the storm. Ask yourself better questions. Did I create a space where she could feel without fear? Or did I make her feel like caring was risky? Did she feel safe being vulnerable with me? Or did she sense that any uncertainty would be judged, analyzed, or challenged? Don't label her as confusing. Don't call her inconsistent. Be curious instead. Confusion often means she is processing real emotions. Inconsistency often means she is protecting something valuable, her heart. Here's the deeper psychology. When a woman starts imagining a future with you, her mind also calculates potential loss. The more meaningful you become, the more she has to lose. That awareness can create distance even as her feelings grow stronger. It's not logical, it's protective. Your role is not to fix her fear. Your role is not to increase it. Stay present. Keep your behavior consistent. Let your actions communicate stability. That's what builds long-term trust. If you've been in this situation when things felt right and suddenly she pulled back, reflect before reacting. Did you increase tension? Did you disappear? Or did you stay calm and steady? I respect men who want to understand, not control. Control creates resistance. Understanding creates connection. If this message connects with you, think about your past experiences. Were there signs you noticed too late? Moments when you mistook fear for indifference? Growth begins when you stop reacting emotionally and start responding wisely. Be the man who doesn't break when emotions get real. Be the man who doesn't panic over temporary distance. That steadiness is rare, and rare qualities build lasting relationships.